guys see success on the field and see guys blocking punts, scoring touchdowns, or running fake field goals in for touchdowns, whatever it is, and they want to be a part of that. So they're obviously excited. And Coach Beamer and Coach Limbo have explained to our whole team that it changes games, and we've seen that come to fruition over the past 2 years.
If you walk around Williams-Brice Stadium on a Saturday in the fall, there's a good chance you'll spot somebody with a Garnet 98 Jeter jersey in the stands. That's because Mitch Jeter's family doesn't miss a game, and they roll up in numbers. This week on Gamecock Talk, hear what it's like to be a kicker for Shane Beamer and Pete Limbo, and what family means to the South Carolina specialist. All right, Mitch, let's start with talking about a little mic'd up we just did with you. First off, you're getting off the practice field. How'd that go? Should I be worried about anything in there? Are you good?
No, I think, I think us as specialists, we love that kind of stuff. Being able to kind of show our side of football and stuff like that, what we do, I think it's awesome that, we were able to do that. And obviously, y'all get to see a little insight of that too. So it's awesome.
I think from what I've noticed, it's maybe a little more fun, laid back if you're a specialist. I know some of the other people might think you don't have to do as much work. Tell me that's wrong.
I agree and disagree with you. I think it's like, yes, we're not going out there and we're hitting head on with guys every single day, but there is kind of a mental aspect to it where, we are in a pressure situation where, we get one shot to do our job, and that's kind of our kind of pressure situations throughout the day rather than going back and forth all day with, somebody across the other side of the ball.
You've seen a lot of videos where it's like, all right, if you make this 40-yard kick, like we don't have to run today, then you see the whole team goes nuts. That's always cool. Talk about the bond that the specialists have with each other, because I feel like I've noticed at a lot of schools, a lot of places, that bond is tighter than a lot of the other position rooms.
Yeah, I think we've definitely got a great bond as specialists. I don't know if I've talked about this on here before, but all of us actually live like literally 3 houses, right? Kai, Daniel, and Alex live next to myself and William Joyce, and then Hunter Rogers lives like right behind us. So we're all there together. Obviously, we're here a lot in the building, but outside the building, we're also hanging out a lot too.
And that's on purpose, right? You guys don't get enough of each other, I guess?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're hanging out all the time, just kind of casually if we're just, hanging out watching games or, just being guys and, grilling or whatever, yeah.
So talk to me about getting to work with Coach Limbo and Coach Beamer, two people who care so much about special teams. They've made that known. Our special teams unit is probably the best there is in the country, or not, if not one of the best. So tell me just about playing for those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those guys, like you said, have instilled in this program a really core group of special teams players, and we put a lot of effort into it in practice. So that's obviously awesome, and guys buy into it. So, guys see success on the field and see guys blocking punts, scoring touchdowns, or running fake field goals in for touchdowns, whatever it is, and they want to be a part of that. So they're obviously excited, and Coach Beamer and Coach Limbo have explained to our whole team that it changes games, and we've seen that come to fruition over the past 2 years. So it's been really good.
I know the specialists sometimes have to earn the respect of all the other guys, but I feel like just even doing something like that, like you said, you've shown that at South Carolina, special teams can change the game. I feel like that part probably takes care of itself then.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also nice because Coach Beamer and Coach Limbo have instilled that us as specialists are involved with the whole team. A lot of guys kind of think as the kickers, the punters, the long snappers, just kind of guys that are over there doing their own thing. But no, we're all of our lifts, all obviously around the building and everything, we're seeing everybody. But even in the lifts and stuff, we're doing the same thing as everybody else, which really is okay, we're battling with the guy next to us. So that's kind of that team building aspect to it as well.
You mentioned trick plays and things like that. You kind of tossed your hat into that ring, if you will, last week. And we've seen, Kai do some things, and now you're kind of, oh, wait, no, Mitch can be a part of this too. So tell me about how that whole process worked. And I know onside kicks are part of the game, but when it's a surprise to start a half, you don't see that often anymore. Yeah,
I mean, that's something that I guess Coach Limbo really wanted us to be able to execute that at some point in this season. So we took an emphasis this past spring and obviously in fall camp in kind of our practice to really take advantage of just learn how to do it and be consistent at it, which, took some time, I think. It took some time for us to really get comfortable doing it, and then to go out there and be able to kind of know that I do it every single day in practice and be able to execute it, was a good feeling.
I want to talk about that pressure situation more in just a second, but there's different kinds of onside kicks. We've seen a whole bunch of them, and
Usually it's kind of cornered to the side, but when it's a surprise one, we've seen that kind of dribble and the kicker go run and grab it. That's kind of catch and fire. A lot more teams are doing that. So talk me through that process and how that actually works, because it's getting more popular.
Yeah, so I guess we watched, this past spring, all the clips of that kind of kick. We call it the middle dribble. Mm-hmm. So we watched all the clips in college football when that happened last year and kind of looked at it and analyzed it of, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what look was the kickoff return team giving us that looked good for that kind of kick. And then it's kind of a kick where you're hitting the top of the ball a little bit and kind of letting it roll and trying to get a bounce where it comes back to yourself. So that's what we were trying to work on. Obviously like a regular onside kick, you're trying to get a bounce for your teammates to go get the ball back. But this is kind of a ball that you're trying to get a bounce back to yourself once it goes 10 yards. So that's something that we've worked on.
I watched it a few times back, and just to try to conceptualize like how difficult of a kick that actually is, it has to be almost perfect. Because if the front two guys kind of take a step back, you've got them there a little bit, but after the first little bounce, they're going to realize and be right. It has to go almost exactly 10 yards. So just tell me about how difficult of a kick that is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you can't get to the point where you're hitting it too hard because obviously those two guys are there, but there's also a side where you have to hit it 10 yards. You can't leave it short to where, if you don't get it 10 yards, you don't have a chance. So that's kind of something that we were working of what is the right tempo, what is the right speed of everything to get it to go 10 yards but not blast it to where it's in those guys' face and now we don't have a chance.
So let's talk about when that call was made. I think I talked to Coach Beamer and Coach Limbo, who said, we kind of had talked about it going in. We looked at some film, and then going into halftime, we talked about doing it, and then they made the decision. When did they come tell you, hey, this is on?
Well, the guys up in the press box are always kind of looking at that stuff of looks and all the, kind of behind the scenes. So after, our first kickoff, we kicked it deep, and they were like, okay, like the look is kind of there, we could run it. And then I was like, they told me that like we could run it, and I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just trying to go out there and execute kickoff, field goal, extra points, kind of what I usually do. And then they came to me right before halftime, or right before we kicked off the second half, and we're like, hey, this is what we're running. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. I knew that we were going to call it at some point this year, so I was prepared mentally to go execute, but I didn't think it was going to come at that point in the game, to be honest.
Received the opening kickoff, and now there's an onside kick, and Mitch Jeter gets it 10 yards as he come up with the football. Jeter makes the kick, it trickles along, and the Gamecocks have got it. Pete Limbo and Shane Bieber strike again. We will not go easily into the Charlotte night. We will come and take this if we can.
Talk to me about just then physically preparing, because like you said, you didn't know before the game, and it's not like you could run out there during halftime and practice it a couple times, like obviously. So do you get to do it in the tunnel? Do you get to do it in the locker room? Or is it just like, all right, I got one chance, here it is?
Yeah, no, you don't, I guess to answer your question, you don't get to practice it. You kind of have to go back to those practice reps where you're out here on the practice field of doing stuff every single day of, okay, this is how I remember executing, kind of that muscle memory kicks in. But it's also a disguise of, I don't want to be out there looking like I'm about to do it. I want to be able to kind of get some swings in there, make the return team think I'm about to kick off deep as well, so they aren't ready for it either.
Some huge leg swings maybe right beforehand or something, yeah. Let's talk about just the emotion, because we got a good video of you just kind of, big fist pump if you're coming out with the ball. Just talk to me about knowing how you just changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, to get, I guess, the second half to start off with the possession again, to steal a possession was awesome. To get our offense out on the field, to give them the opportunity to go execute and get us some points, that was awesome too. Because obviously with that game, you have two really high talented quarterbacks that are going at each other. And then, to give Spencer and our offense another chance to go and score a touchdown or get us in position to kick a field goal was awesome.
So we broke down in the film room this whole onside kick with Coach Limbo and kind of opened my eyes into what goes into it. But we didn't just talk about that. We talked about kickoffs in general and how much goes into that and kick coverage. You've been doing that since you got here. Your freshman year, you were doing kickoffs. So talk to me about that and how important that can be to either change field position or give some momentum.
Yeah, I mean, there's different, like, a scheme and everything. And, Coach Limbo's obviously put a lot into it to where we can go any direction, any single way we can do a lot with it, which a lot of other schools I don't think have, which is why I think we've been successful here is like, We have the ability to kick it all over the place, kick it deep, kick it short, wherever we want to go. And obviously, you're able to take advantage and go cover and make a play to get the ball down inside the 25, but we're also able to hit touchbacks to where if we have a dangerous returner we're playing against, we can hit the ball out of the end zone and not give them a chance to return it as well.
I think a lot of casual fans will see a kickoff and just think, why don't they just kick it in the end zone every time? But now that they've moved it to the 25 a few years ago, I think we even did it against UNC and kind of put it in the corner to see if we can go cover and get them inside the 25, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a risk reward kind of deal. If you can hit a high hang time ball to, obviously, like we like to think of the numbers on the field, hitting it outside the numbers gives us a really good chance to go down there and cover. So if we can do that, it puts our coverage team in a really good spot to go down there and make a play. But if not, if we're hitting touchbacks, it obviously is a set kind of line for field position. But if we can get them stopped inside that, it helps our kind of hidden yards as well.
Let's talk about just the emotions of kicking off, because people probably don't think there's much emotion that goes into that. But a lot of times, especially if we kick off first, you're the first person out there, sandstorm's blaring, like it's all exciting. So take me through those emotions to start a game.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously can't go crazy sandstorm like everybody else. So that's, kind of, I try to keep it cool, calm, and collected during that time. Obviously, kind of when I was here as a freshman, it was like, oh my God, everything's going crazy around me. And there's so many people, sandstorms going on, whatever. But as I've kind of gone throughout my career, gotten used to that of being in that moment, when everything's going crazy around you, still go out there and be able to execute your job.
So you were kicking off during COVID, right? During that season too. So what was that like? That had to be kind of weird. There wasn't a million people doing sandstorm and you're kind of like, all right, let's play football. Then you go kick off.
Yeah. So, that was actually my freshman year. It was still kind of surreal though. It's like you're in a stadium, you're in that kind of environment. You still have the speakers and, there's still some fans there, but it was cool to be able to get out there and get that experience of COVID and then be able to have that extra year eligibility as well to be able to help this team out too.
So pretty much every game, I don't know if it's just me or everybody does, but I see your family almost every game. It
Really?
Seems like they've got the Jeter, jerseys and everything. Tell me about that crew who's at every game with you and who they are.
Yeah, so my mom and my dad, I'm pretty sure have come to every single game. Maybe they missed like one or two, but obviously every single home game they're there. So I'm from right north of Charlotte, North Carolina, in Salisbury. So that's like 2 hours from here. So they're here every single game. My grandfather comes down. He was a quarterback at Bradley University, which is up in kind of Illinois, I think. Smaller school, but he was a quarterback there, loves football. He'll anytime I'm with him, that's all he wants to talk about is, oh, how's Spencer looking? How, who's this new guy coming in or whatever, And obviously, I try to keep it, very mellow with him. Just be like, oh yeah. But he loves to hear the stories about us in the locker room of me getting to know these guys that are obviously doing really well for our team. My grandfather, my mom, my dad, and then my girlfriend and my sister kind of come as well. My sister goes to NC State, so she comes down whenever she can, and then my girlfriend comes as well.
So tell me about just having that support group really, it seems like every game they're all wearing new jerseys. What does that mean to you to know that they're there every game? Yeah,
it's awesome. It's something you dream of. That's probably one of the reasons why I chose South Carolina is obviously being able to go to games, be in a big-time environment, and have my family be there as well. Because it's my dream to be able to play here and do well for this university, but it's also my dream to have my family watch me. That's kind of important for me. I wouldn't want to go super far away to where they're watching me at home on TV every week. I just don't feel right about that. I want my family there. I want them to be there. I want to see them after the game. That's kind of because we all work together to get to this point. It's not just me. They help me out a lot financially. That helped me get to this position, so I want them to be there for that. So game on the line, 47-yard field goal attempt. Who's more nervous, you or your family in the stands? Probably my family. I've been in that position, through practice and stuff to where I feel like I can go out there and execute. But obviously, you see those all the time of all these kicks with games on the line or whatever. And obviously, I'm sure as a family member, that's nerve-wracking to have, your son have the game on the line or whatever it is. Nothing but for you, though. No, I'm prepared for it. I feel like I can do a good job.